Welcome. It's lovely to be here. It's a weekend, and we're all at the UK's highest rated comedy club. By my mum. No, we do have the highest rating on Google, on TripAdvisor, and on Grindr. So it's lovely to see you again, fella. Now, bad time to lean down. I'll tell you a bit about me. My name is Dave. I'm a vegetarian, and yeah, I've been veggie for a while, and there are certain things that I miss, like respect. Because a couple of weeks ago, I had to do some gigs in Poland, right? Now, going to Poland as a vegetarian, it's a bit like going to Cadbury World as a diabetic, right? Like, I didn't realise they don't have the cultural equivalent, and we went out to a restaurant before the gig, and I said to the waiter, "Sorry, mate, do you have any veggie options?" And he looked at me like I'd curled one out in the till, right? And I was like really shocked, and I was like, I'm sorry, like, do you just have anything without meat? And he looked at the menu, looked at me, and he went, "We got duck." And I was like really confused, and I went, "Well, duck is still meat." Right? He said one of the most beautiful sentences I've ever heard. He went, "Well, it swims, it's part fish." There's a kind of logic to that. Because there are... anyone know what you call a vegetarian that eats fish? No, a liar. Because there is a weird dietary hierarchy, because meat eaters look down on vegetarians, vegetarians look down on vegans, and vegans look down on no one because they don't have the minerals. What are they going to do? Hit me? I can say that, though, because I'm trying to do the vegan thing at the moment. One of my mates said, give it a go. Like, for example, there's a lot of benefits, like it's a lot cheaper. And, no, it is, mainly because no one wants to socialise. I'm not going to be one of those people. I'm not going to try and convert you. I'm not going to try and change your opinions, each to his own. I'll be honest, I have found it a little bit difficult, and I think it is quite tricky. But I also think as well, sometimes you've got to push yourself. Sometimes you've got to like mix things up and, you know, push yourself. Like there's a famous, I don't know if you've heard it, there's a famous vegan phrase, which is, you can't make an omelette. That's the phrase. I'm not gonna lie, I'm so pleased that you got that, right? Because I did some gigs last week in Loughborough, because my career's on fire. It's an absolute shithole. Like, it is... I'm sorry, but it's the only place I've ever gone where even the pigeons look depressed, right? It's like, best part about it was I got the train there, and as we got into my stop, I was sitting next to some Aussie guys, and as I got my bag, it woke them up, and one of the Aussies, like, looked to the other and went, "Hey, dude, where are we?" And he looked at the platform sign, he went, "I think that's pronounced Luga Baruga." I was like, wow! I've arrived in the Maldives of the Midlands. No, it's a shithole. What's even worse is they know it as well. Like, I checked into my hotel and I said to the receptionist, "Hi, I'm here for 2 nights, 3 days. Where's good to go out around Loughborough?" She said Nottingham, right? And in Loughborough, they'd never heard of a vegan. They didn't know vegan. They thought it was witchcraft. So I kind of had to explain. And look, you know, if you don't know the difference between vegetarian and vegan, don't worry, I'll explain. So vegetarians don't eat any meat, whereas vegans don't eat any meat or use any animal products, right? So as a vegan, I can't use any animal products, which is why I can never use a zebra crossing. It's dangerous. I'm not allowed to collect nectar points, and I had to stop supporting West Ham, so it's not all bad. Now, I'm trying to do the vegan thing for a couple of different reasons. Like, the first reason is when I was growing up, right, my dad was a vet who specialised in looking after really properly sick animals, by which I mean he was a butcher. But I'm also doing it because my partner is a vegan as well, and she's called she. Mad, isn't it? I'm as surprised as you, to be honest. You know what I mean? So's my boyfriend, but. Yeah, she's called Una, and she's Irish, so that's spelled OONAXTTJ / the winky emoji, the Batman symbol, and then the transient concept of hope. When I say she's Irish, don't get excited. She's not like the fun Irish. She's the, you know what I mean? No, but you know what I mean? Because there is. Look, don't give me this shit. Because there are two types of Ireland. You've got the fun Irish, who's like, oh, tiddly tum tea. Like, that's that. You know what I mean? That's like the fun one. She's like the scary, the sort of like, no. Like, Jesus Christ. That's what we call the withdrawal method. She's from Northern Ireland. No one's in from Northern Ireland, are they? I'm going to get kneecapped. So, welcome to my final gig. Where are you from, my sweet?
My mum's from Northern Ireland.
Your mum's from Northern Ireland.
I'm from Northern Ireland.
Okay. Great, yeah, it's not the question I asked, but that is... It's lovely, fair. I've seen it on a map as well. She's... Because Una's from this place, right, called Armagh, which is kind of like quite, well, she pronounced it, it's a mental accent. It's like all at the back of the, like, we've been together 7.5 years. I haven't understood a single word she said, right? She just goes around the house going, killed him. So I had to spend last Christmas with her family. It was like hanging out with seal pups, right? Just sitting around there talking. I was like, who invited Pingu? What's going on? And don't worry, this bit isn't racist because she's white. So that's how... What are you going to do, cancel me? You've never fucking heard of me. Half of you are sitting there going, God, Adam Sandler's let himself go, hasn't he? Right? I like how there's two laughs to that. The first one is, oh, he does, and then, I genuinely only joke about the Northern Irish thing, because, like, genuinely, I honestly love Northern Ireland. It is a beautiful place, especially Belfast. Great city, great people, great crack, great heroin. It's... so much fun, but one of the things I love about it so much, and this is honestly true, and you can Google this, Belfast, like the capital of Northern Ireland, has the largest Titanic Memorial Museum in the world, right, which in 2012 had to close down due to flood damage, right? What a place! But I'll tell you a bit about Una. She's a doctor of psychology, so not a real doctor. And, look, I'm not having a go. I'm just saying, when was the last time you got on a plane and the pilot went, is there a doctor on board? Because we seriously need to talk about this man's relationship with his father, right? It's never happened, has it? And she was originally a child psychologist, but then she grew up. Now she's an adult psychologist. And we met because a couple of years ago I did a show all about mental health. And I did that and I went on tour. And I don't want to sound arrogant, but that show about mental health, it did get 5 stars. Thank you very much if you add them all up. Funny because it's true. Odd thing is, it got reviewed 7 times. But I genuinely am very passionate about mental health because I think mental health a lot of the time can make people uncomfortable. And I think especially in the UK it makes us uncomfortable. And in the UK, anything that we don't like and anything that makes us uncomfortable, we tend to box it up and ship it off, which is how we created Australia. And I did a show that was all about how, when I was a teenager, I started developing anorexia, and that is absolutely true. I did have anorexia, and anorexia is it's a huge problem. It's affected people like Kelly Clarkson, Lily Allen, Taylor Swift, Victoria Beckham. It's a huge problem. You know, it's responsible for a lot of rubbish music. You're not sure, are you, over here? Well, strap in. Because when I did that show, genuinely, I said to my housemate, do you know any famous male anorexics? And he just looked at me and went, Gandhi? I was like, no. And I got approached, like, a publisher saw the show, and he said, look, there's a gap in the market for the first male book on anorexia. And I pointed out it's not a very big gap. And he didn't laugh, and it got really awkward. And I think humour, when sensitively used, is a great way to talk about difficult things. It engages more people. And because the book was about anorexia, I wanted to call it The Real Hunger Games. I thought that was a good title, right? Apparently that infringes copyright, so I had to call it Weight Expectations, which... it's not as good, if you ask me. And that's how me and Una met, because she did her doctoral thesis on men with eating disorders. She was presenting her research at a conference at Oxford University, where I was the keynote speaker. We met, and next year we're going to get married. Yeah, she doesn't know it yet. So I'm not really a boyfriend, more of a case study. And maybe because of that, she's a very positive person. She's always saying things to me like all of those things that you've heard. She always says to me, no. But no, that translates as she always uses that phrase. I don't know if you've heard it. It's life's all about the journey. That's what she was saying. Life's all about the journey, Dave. Forget about the destination. Just focus on the journey, which is how she lost her job as an ambulance driver. I hate those sorts of phrases. She always says to me, if at first you don't succeed, try and try again. And I've pointed out, well, in some cases, that's called sexual harassment. So I wouldn't... don't condone that. The one that she uses that really annoys me, she goes, improvement starts with an I. And I don't have the balls to point out, yeah, but unhappiness starts with you. So I wouldn't, you know... But that positivity did see us through, because genuinely true, within the first 6 months of us getting together, I had to have, this is honestly true, I had to have a circumcision. And yeah, and I did a show about it, and the show that I did was called Circumcision. I originally wanted to call it From the Hood. Right? I was like, and yeah, I had this problem which affects mainly blokes, and it's maybe not. And it's basically this thing called phimosis, right? And phimosis is when your penis is it's too big, right? Like it's massive, like a blimp made out of skin. No, basically phimosis is where the neck on your jumper. Is a little bit too tight, right? And it kind of... I think somebody's relating to this bit a little bit too hard! Give me some skin. No, but honestly, this is true as well. When I was doing that show, I was in Edinburgh and I flyed a bloke and I went up to him and went, "Hi, mate, just to let you know, I'm doing a show. It's called Circumcision." And he looked at me and he went, "Is it a live circumcision?" And I had to point out, I'm not going to get circumcised for your enjoyment. For a fiver as well. 26 days in a row, right? And he just looked at me and went, "I probably won't come then." I said, "You and me both." Now, what's worse though is that I do kids shows. Same material. And whenever I do the kids shows, I always get a kid on stage, they'll tell their jokes, everyone claps, it's a beautiful thing. Now, I was doing the Leicester Square Theatre last Christmas, right? I got this little girl on stage, she was 7 years old, she was called Matilda, right? She started telling this joke, right? And if you know the punchline to this joke, please shout it out, right? The joke she started telling was, "Why does Santa not have any children?" Anybody know the punchline to that joke? Yes, my friend.
Santa only comes once a year and generally in a chimney.
Well done! Let's give you that. Two things that I love about that. One is that you put your hand up ever so politely. Like we're at the opera. And secondly, the kind of visage says Dr. Zeus, but the mind says Ann Summers, you dirty woman. Well done, though. Well done. That is, if you didn't hear, so the punchline is Santa doesn't have any children because he only comes once a year, and that's down the chimney, right? That's the... You might not know this. There are actually two punchlines to that joke. I found this out over lockdown, right? I was doing one of them Zoom gigs, and I said, "Does anyone know why Santa doesn't have any children?" Some old dude took himself off mute, and he went, "Is it because he empties his sack at the bottom of children's beds?" I said, "Look, this is the last PTA." Now, I never heard that joke before, so I got this little girl on stage. I was like, "Okay, Matilda, you going to tell your joke?" She was like, "Yeah." There's 250 people in the audience. She took the microphone, she stood there and she went, "Why does Santa not have any children?" Right? And then a voice from the back of the room, right, presumably her dad, just went, "No!" Ran and swept her off stage, right? I didn't know what was going on. I just saw a 7-year-old ask a question and get friggin' abducted, right? Kids are crying, screaming, someone smashed a glass. I had to say something to save it. I said the first thing that came to my mind, which had to be, "Oh, kids, don't worry, Santa's not even real." And didn't save the gig. Guys, thank you very much for being so lovely. If you've enjoyed my stuff, you can follow me on Twitter. I've been Dave Chawner. Thank you very much, and goodbye!
Is it easy? Just to try it.
Come on, give him some love, big dog Chawner. Woo! It's my guy.